We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Monday. We went for more low key yesterday, and we're going to fire this bitch up because we got Will with us today. Welcome, Will. Welcome back to the
Hey,
Rational
Mike, how
Boomer
you doing?
podcast.
How you doing? Like the TikTok lives, those are fun. Interacting with
Yeah.
TJ and Rebecca, those are fun.
Let me ask
But
you something about that. Let me ask you
yeah,
something about that. I just want to get
Mhm,
your advice and input. I like
mhm,
having all you guys on the TikTok lives. I want to do more TikTok lives. I get the feeling that when I have four of you on, TJ, Rebecca, Eric, and you on at all one
mhm,
time, it kind of short shrifts people for time to talk and stuff. It gets a little confusing. What I'm thinking is maybe when
mhm.
I do it in the future, it'll be two of you and then two other
Right.
ones next time, and then pull in the people too. Because I do like pulling in the people on the show just at random, just to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Yeah, I mean TJ and Rebecca are swatting flies most of the time on
Yeah, they
there,
are.
and so, but yeah, that makes sense. That's a logical progression of this for the next 2 weeks that TikTok survives. And we'll see how that goes.
TikTok's not going away. I don't think it's
It's
going away.
I mean, it's an interesting whatever. We'll see what happens. Um, Honestly, that's low on my line of things to worry about at this point for all of
Yeah,
us at this point.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
if not TikTok, I'm on YouTube. You're on YouTube. I'm on
right.
Blue Sky. You're probably on Blue Sky too. Facebook and
Mhm.
Instagram, they fucking kicked me off, but I wouldn't go back there if I could at this point, given that Mark Zuckerberg is giving Donald Trump money and bending the knee to Donald Trump. I don't want anything to do with Facebook at this point. Um,
Speaking of bending the knee, did you see that the Washington Post Pulitzer Prize winning cartoonist resigned today?
I heard that.
Um,
I heard that he wrote some negative thing about Donald Trump, and
oh,
the Post
no, no,
got
not negative thing
butthurt.
about Trump. He made a political cartoon of showing Trump on a pedestal, and people are millionaires or people putting up money, offering money, and one of them
Right,
was
right.
Jeff Bezos. And Jeff didn't like his sense of humor and pulled the cartoon. So the guy said, "Okay, fuck you, I'm out. It's not like I can't find a job somewhere else or go syndication." But
Yeah.
that tells you what's going on in the world of the billionaire. They have they're just they don't give a fuck anymore, and he's in
Well, and
controlling the Washington Post.
it's got to be comfort to know that they're getting some pushback now too. You know, the networks and Walmart and Washington Post. These people are starting to feel it now. People aren't taking their shit anymore.
But do they care? I mean, if you're a billionaire like Jeff Bezos, do you care? I mean, he
Well,
doesn't care because people are still going to use his stuff. You're still going to watch Prime. You're still going to do stuff. I mean,
yeah,
he knows. Um, like the Washington Post was just whatever. That's chump change. That thing could close and you wouldn't give a fuck at this point,
probably not.
honestly.
Probably not. And maybe that's what it needs to do because Bezos owns the Washington Post, right?
Yes. Hmm.
So
And
that's why he stuck his nose in there.
well, he hadn't stuck his nose in since he bought it before Trump became president the first time. And
Right.
there was a lot of stories about Trump, and Trump was leading on Prime and on Bezos about cutting him out of the post office, but he never interfered with the stories till recently. And all of a sudden, it's like he figured that he could get something out of it, and then all of a sudden he changed his tune. He interfered with it as the publisher, and the who they're going to support for president. He pulled that plug. This current thing with the cartoon, he doesn't care. He doesn't. It's up. I mean, because what are you going to do about it? I don't care. I mean, this is just a play toy to him.
Well, when they
Um,
start losing money, they may care, but you know that may be part and parcel to what we knew already. Newspapers are a dying industry.
right.
Network media is a dying industry. Radio is a dying industry, and the billionaires, if they own them, they're just going to quicken the pace.
I mean, yeah, media is just. But the hardest thing to watch is the idiocy that has been just being thrust on us. It's horrible. Before I we came on, I saw. a video with Rachel Maddow talking about the selection for the head of the IRS. The
Yeah.
commissioner of the IRS is a guy named Billy Long. And Billy Long is not a CPA, he's not an accountant, he has no background in financing per se, has no background in accounting. He's just got a lot of money contributed to Trump's campaign, and he's a known poker player. And that's who he nominated to run the IRS. And see, that's the thing. There is no competency in here. This is all about, do you love me? Do
Yeah.
you love me? Will you do anything for me, including go to jail? And this guy is absolutely totally incompetent. And that's and people hate the IRS, but let's make it clear. That's the organization that collects money for everyone, for the government to run.
Right.
And it's
Well,
just sad to think that
well, let,
he nominates something like that.
let me ask you this. I got a perspective of this, and I think people would think I'm crazy. But we've been hearing about all these horrible things that are going to happen when Donald Trump takes over and he appoints all these goofballs. Part of me is kind of excited for that day because, as much as they're goofballs, they're going to fail. They're going to show their incompetency. It's going to be a clown show. We don't want our country to be a clown show, but it's inevitable now that Donald Trump will be the president of the United States. So why not bring it on now and start the start the circus now?
It's I'd say it would be funny, but with the consequences beyond it.
Yeah.
It's basically, you basically giving the keys to a 13-year-old and say, hey, go. Well, I never driven. That's fine. See what happens. If you roll the car, that's cool. It'll be funny. The problem is, might kill you and whoever's in the car with you. That's
Well,
the
will it
only
kill them first, though? Will it
contra
kill
to it.
them first? Once
Yeah,
this
but
all
counts to
goes
be,
to shit, somebody's going to have to do something. It ain't going to be us.
yeah, it's gonna. We were talking when we started about how Mike Johnson became Speaker of the House, avoiding the Kevin McCarthy um, debacle. And basically, Politico did a really good story behind what happened. He only had three holdouts. Two of
Right.
them, they just got on the phone with Trump, and Trump just leaned on him
Right.
hard. Chip Roy came to heel because after his little bit with the budget, Mike Johnson had to come to Jesus with him, meeting with him, and go, "Hey, I'm not." He said, "I want support. Great. You won't get. I'll win anyway, but you won't get any office space, and you won't get any committee chairmen or committee assignments." He didn't get shit, and all of a sudden, Chip Roy said, "Voted for Johnson." Yeah, he knows what's going on. Mike Johnson. The difference between Mike Johnson and Kevin McCarthy, because I kept saying, "Why?" and because everyone knew Kevin McCarthy was a fucking weasel.
Yeah.
They've been watching his bullshit for decades, trying to weasel his way to be speaker. Paul Ryan and all that. He couldn't get it. So he would do anything. And the thing about it is that people will take advantage of people like that, but they hate them. They really do. You don't like people like that. You
No,
use them,
absolutely
but
not.
they disgust you. And I mean, to me, it's like the guy, the Spartan who told the Persians how to get behind the Spartans at,
Right.
at the and what did they do? They gave him his gold. They poured it down molten in his throat because they thank you for the information, but we hate you. So Mike Johnson is a smart dude. So basically, he knew what pressure to put on him. Now, what's that mean? It means that unlike Kevin McCarthy, who wants to survive, Johnson is. We'll always remember. People keep forgetting. Mike Johnson was one of the architects of the idea of the original of January 6th in 2020 and what to do to change the presidency. He was a big guy that the VP cannot certify the vote, send it back to the states. That was one of his plans. He was the underlier for it. He is not, he's a pious prick, but he's a smart pious prick. So he can survive. Now, what does that mean for us down legislation down the line? If Republicans are afraid of losing their power in the House, when bills come up, will they go ahead and do the disaster bills because they value their power in the House more than anything? If a bill comes up and it says out goes the Veterans Department, will they do it to protect themselves? See, that's you have to extrapolate from what happened in that speaker vote, what Trump did, and what Johnson wants to put pressure on Republicans to do. I mean,
There's one
that's, I mean,
factor. There's one factor you have to consider here that came into play here. Didn't come into play really with Kevin McCarthy. Um, the one aspect of this is that if they didn't have a Speaker of the House, it was going to fuck up the certification and possibly the inauguration. And the Republicans won't do that to themselves, and Donald Trump will not have it. So that was the extra pressure
yeah,
over and above whatever Donald Trump said or promised or whatever he did. That was the overlying reason why they were fucking hustling around and why they held off on the first vote being gavelled out so
right.
that they could get it on the first ballot. They wanted it to look good and it didn't, but they needed to get it done because they couldn't afford to fuck themselves.
Right. So that was one of the things that Trump did say to the other guys. We don't want to look in pieces. The Democrats always stick together. We need to do the same. Also, we need to make sure we move forward to get the Congress seated. He brought those
Right.
up, but he also kept pressing that in the same discussion. I need all Republicans behind every bill I send out. I want them to accept everything I say, what I do. I'm hoping to an extent what you said, yeah, the immediate need to get the certification done and move forward is the most underlying cause. And then Republicans will start to balk and some of the shit they may come down. But my concern is that Republicans right now are a bunch of feckless weasels. They have no spine. Then checks are being scratched left and right. Don't tell me they're not. And
Yeah.
that's a fear I have that the worst scenarios may come down because they're going to get paid to be cowards.
I don't think that this Speaker of the House vote is indicative of what's going to happen in the House. I think what's more indicative of what's going to happen in the House when you don't have the pressure of fucking yourself
Mhm.
in the foot is the funding bill and how the voting went there. How it went with or how it went with Matt Gaetz being the AG, and how it went with Rick Scott being the uh, majority leader in the
Mhm.
Senate, they didn't go along with Donald Trump at all. I think in this particular situation, they're going to get through this moment, get Donald Trump inaugurated. But when it comes down to some of these hardcore things, they're going to be looking at their own constituency and getting rid of veterans or Medicare or Social Security. That's going to take a different slant to what these people are going to do. And I think they're going to be surprised by how many Republicans don't vote with Donald Trump or MAGA. I mean, these guys are
Yeah,
divided. They're divisive,
yeah,
and they aren't going to be able to pass anything unless they can convince Democrats to help them out.
yeah. It's gonna be a clown show. When this airs, the deed will be done about certification. Um, I don't see anything other than Vice President Harris is going to do her duty like Vice President Biden did when Trump first became president, and just say, "Hey, we're done. Move on." And just
Right.
do it. I don't see any kind of magic thing people are talking about. Um, it's not a question of whether the Democrats have the stomach for it because we know Republicans would have done it, but I think they
Yeah.
more still respect the rule of law, which is what they want to do. This is what the Constitution calls for,
Well, you
and
bring
it's
up this
hard.
point, and you
Mhm.
and I agree on this. The point that we got all these people on TikTok and all the different platforms saying, "Oh, just wait. Something's going to come out at the last minute. They're going to pull the 14th Amendment." They already did something with the executive order, but that didn't really have anything to do with people in this country. It was foreign countries. So they're
Mhm.
still standing behind that. And they're going to have to do something pretty quick if that's what they're going to do. But something I find interesting, in spite of the fact that you and I are skeptical about it, some people believe it's going to happen. We'll find out soon enough if it does.
Mhm.
But here's what I find interesting: how paranoid those Republican motherfuckers are.
Oh yeah.
Because here's Marjorie Taylor Greene talking to somebody in an interview, and she says something. She says, "Well, if we get the inauguration on the 20th, if? Where
Yeah,
why is she questioning this? I think she's hearing this noise and she knows that they're fucked up. And if the Democrats did something, she's thinking the Democrats are thinking like Republicans, knowing they'd be doing the same thing. And then Donald Trump has this campaign rally on the 19th, which makes no sense. That tells me Donald Trump means he needs some reinforcements if they try to pull the rug out from under him.
but it's like I heard about that, and the first thing I thought of was a Nuremberg rally. Sorry, it's going to look like that. It's
Yeah.
it's going to be similar to what we saw in New York earlier in the campaign. It's going to be at the Cap Center in Maryland, where the Wizards play. Um, it's basically I don't know if that's what it is. I think it's more that he considers himself now because he got the second term like his friends in North Korea, and he
Yeah.
wants that same type of love, and that's why he's all pissed off about the flags because this is not about America. The inauguration has always been about we're showing the world how democracy works. We're changing from one administration to another. No one's trying to kill each other, at least until January 6th of 2020. We were doing it peacefully every time. I never forgot when not Clinton, when the first Bush election came through with the hanging chads in 2000. And Southern California, they have some kind of international forum where they diplomats come to speak. And they had one from Venezuela where they had some problems down there at the time.
Yeah.
And he was just one. We were just someone was describing to the diplomat what happened in 2000 with the hanging chads and all that in Florida. And he asked him, "Well, was there blood in the streets?" And he go, "No, there was a court decision there would abided by it." And he looked at him and he goes, "Well, that in my country they'd be killing each other in the streets."
Yeah.
That's one thing that everyone was proud of. We can do this. We didn't agree with it, and I know people will bitch about the Supreme Court, blah blah, but we honored it and we moved forward. I mean, Al Gore said, "Hey, okay, whatever. I don't want to put the country through it." What did he think of the country? What
Yeah.
does Donald Trump think about? Who gives a fuck about the United States? He cares about himself. He thinks he's America. The rest of us don't matter. The American traditions and America in itself don't matter because it's Trump. We now belong in Trumpdom, not America, Trumpdom. And that's why people like the Trump of us going, well, why is everyone so mad? Why? Because we know what's going on. We see it. You guys want to go ahead and kiss his ass. We do not, because in America, we were taught the president doesn't get his ass kicked. He serves kissed. He serves us. The
Right.
government serves us. We do not serve them. But these dumb fucks think that serving Trump is America. It's not. It's just they don't get it. And also, it's a way, and the con continues. He's going to have some kind of prayer in a church. Do you know how much you have to pay 400 fucking $1,000 to go pray with Trump in a church? Okay, those of us who are
Wow.
Christians remember what Jesus did when he saw the money tables in the temple.
Yeah.
Okay, and here he is. He's making money from a church service. I'm
Yeah.
not talking tithe. I'm talking money, profit. I mean, this is what we're dealing with, and this is about now him and his friends basically fleecing the American, fleecing America right now, and that's why we're all sitting there going, just waiting for the worst. I mean, the inauguration is coming on the 20th, and the only thing that keeps coming to my mind, and like I said on the TikTok when I was last time I was on, I think of January 20th, and all I hear is it's the end of the world as we know it.
Right.
Our country's been a lot of things, but it's not going it's about to become. Not under the
No,
second Trump administration.
I just want to say something too. Some people are under the idea that if something happens with the Democrats and January 19th takes off and he does a campaign rally as he's said he's going to do, they're worried about violence and something akin to the January 6th, 2021 thing. There's one distinct difference between January 19th, 2025 and January 6th, 2021. Because on January 19th, Joe Biden is still the president.
Hmm.
And these fucks are going to get an entirely different reception if they try to do anything violent in Washington, D.C.
But I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't. What are you going to do? I mean, I just don't. I mean, he's going to have a rally. Yay. I mean,
Well, he can.
it's going to be the worst thing. It's to watch it is going to be disgusting. To listen to him is going to be disgusting.
But
I
what if
mean,
he's
it's going
angry and he tries to whip them up and get them violent? That's what I'm saying. I'm not worried about the rally because he's been doing poorly attended rallies for
right.
a couple of years now. But if somehow these people get whipped up for some reason and they get violent, there's no way it's going the way of January 6th
Oh no, I
because
mean the
Joe
police are
Biden's
going to
not going
step
to
on
allow
the
that shit
Capitol
to happen.
Police. Yeah, the Capitol Police aren't going to start stepping on it. National Guard would step on it, but it would be appropriate to have a riot before his inauguration on January 20th. It would just track. I mean, just a general. I mean, and also if you look at it this way, if we're doing parallels between him and 38 Germany, 39 Germany. I mean, people running to the streets and breaking things and going after people in the streets, that's very Nazi. I mean, Kristallnacht, you know, tracing people of color. I mean, that would just track. And the thing about it is like, I watch these people on MAGA and they're just like happy. They're
Yeah.
happy for this. They don't care. I mean, it's like,
Until it
I
happens to them.
well, it's not because the thing about it is, someone made a comment about, and I'm trying to see what he said, but talked about, why people voted the way they did. And if I see one more motherfucking political asshole saying that the Democrats lost the working party, no, they didn't lose the working party. They always were for the workers. What they lost, what the reason is their message didn't get through is that they're now misogynistic and racist. And I know I worked with a lot of fucking teachers in my life. They
Yeah.
think that way. So that's the thing. So don't give me this working class bullshit. I mean, they bought the con, they're going to eat the con, and now they're justifying the con. They're justifying what Trump's saying he can't do now, the groceries and gas. Well, he never said that. Okay, now farmers, and I love Don Lemon went off. Man, he went off about the farmers. And I saw that report. Yeah, the deporter thing, we're going to last 2 days. Well, motherfucker, you should have thought of that before you voted for Trump. You should have thought of that. Because the thing
Yeah.
about it is like, it, who's going to take that job? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Chad, 17-year-old white Chad is not going in there to milk cows at 2 in the morning.
I
He's
know.
not going to do it. You're not going to find his ass on top of a roof of 104 degrees in Florida and in August, getting the job done. I mean, that's the thing that immigrants have done for fucking centuries here. And all of a sudden, you guys are going, we don't need them. Fuck, what do you think the Statue of Liberty is, you dumbasses?
Yeah.
I mean, and
Well,
that's the
there
thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, there's people that are just absolutely oblivious, don't understand anything. You maybe heard when Old Soul was on, and I did a TikTok about this, and it just perfectly illustrates how stupid Trumplafucks are. She was talking to somebody, and they were all excited that now they had the control of the House of Representatives, and she said, "Wait, you had the control the last 2 years," and they had no idea.
Nope.
They don't really look into anything. They don't do any research. They don't know what's going on. All it is about this culture war and about attacking libtards. And it's always about how I'm put upon and you guys did it. So now we're going to beat you up. And it gets tiresome after a while.
Yeah, and they're going to get their revenge, I guess. I mean,
I don't
to
think so.
watch, I mean, to watch the stupefaction of America is tough because I never thought we'd get this bad. I mean, the biggest example, what happened in NOLA, okay?
Right.
Terrorist attack, horrible thing. you know. And what's the first thing that Trump rolls? The immigrants did it. It's the border. Mike Johnson, it's the border. And but that is in less than 24 hours, the FBI said, "Oh no, dude's from Beaumont, Texas. Dude's a military guy. He's from Texas."
Right.
But you know what? They keep it doesn't matter. But Tom Hoffer and whatever the fuck that fat asshole up there is saying, yeah, it was the border. Even Fox called him out and he goes, "What proof do you have?" It? Well, we'll find out. Yeah, I see there. And then some of the fucking TikToks. There was a lady who did a TikTok saying, you know, that car that he used to run over and from those people in New Orleans, it was driven from Mexico. No, what the fuck? And then when she got called out on it, she said, "Oh, y'all can't take the joke, bitch. I don't know why you still have a fucking TikTok account for that
Yeah.
misinformation. Fuck, I got a video taken down because I was comparing what's going on to Revelations, and they took it down for harassment and bullying. What the fuck? I was talking about the Bible. I mean, this is insane. That woman's
You have
video was
to
not taken down.
you have to understand why people get their videos taken down on TikTok. It's not that TikTok has some algorithm or some filter, and every time they hear you say something, they shut you down. That isn't
Mhm.
typically how it works. Well, how it works is some Trumplafuck heard it, made the complaint, and then they pull it down. So I don't know if it's TikTok directly. It's just the way they do business, and it's stupid. But somebody saw your thing and didn't like the fact that you were talking about the Bible. How dare a brown person talk about the fucking Bible? And they complained to TikTok, and TikTok took you down. That's
Yeah, I know. There's
that.
no Christians in Mexico or Puerto
No,
Rico.
none,
Uh,
none.
and you want it, and here's the thing. This happened the other day, and I'm pissed off because of what's the aftermath. I don't know if you saw this video, and it was on Tizzy Ant saw it, brought it up. But there was this white lady from Missouri got drunk in a bar in Puerto Rico, and she was just loud, and they kept telling her to leave, and she wouldn't leave. Telling her to leave. Finally, the Puerto Rican police, the police in the town said, "Hey," they took her to a room. They were just laughing. They didn't want to arrest the lady. This happens all the time. It's fucking tourists. We get it. You know what? You know they come to Puerto Rico. They do their thing. Bitch came back after the bar closed and complained, and then they have her on video with a fucking gas can, and she lit the fucking bar on fire, burned their restaurant to the fucking ground, and still
Wow.
left Puerto Rico and is in Missouri. Missouri police have not picked her ass up. She's sitting there, known criminal, on tape, watching putting gas in a match to those people's restaurant in Puerto Rico, and her ass is sitting in Missouri and hasn't been arrested. And you tell me why us of color get a little testy about shit like that.
A good example is we hear all about this guy in New Orleans because he happened to be brown, because he happened to have a Muslim name, even though he was a citizen of this country and fought
Mhm.
in for our military. They're talking about him, trying to convince us that he came over the border. But the guy in Vegas, they don't talk anything about that. What's the weird difference there? What's the strange difference between the guy in NOLA and the guy in Vegas? There's only one that I can
Mm.
know of. They were both military. The guy in Vegas was active military. What's the big difference? One is brown and one is white.
One is white. And the oh my god! I mean, I saw the explosion of the Cybertruck. Now, those things are known to be rolling incendiary devices to begin with.
Yeah.
Oh, and memo to all you assholes. That's an 80,000 vehicle, $80,000 vehicle. I can use $80,000 to buy a hybrid X5 BMW. That's a lot better car than that. Are you fucking kidding me? That piece of shit. And when it, you know what, they were calling Musk for his help on it because when the vehicle blew up, it locked itself, so they
Yeah.
couldn't get into the doors. He had to unlock it. If you want a Cybertruck, that he has control over your vehicle, you dumbasses. I wouldn't touch a Tesla to save my life because
No, I
that
wouldn't
guy,
either.
that's dangerous. And I read a lot of Tesla policies, and I go, do you know what this piece of shit you're buying is? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I saw
Um,
I saw an interesting meme about a Cybertruck. And as far as I'm concerned, if you drive a Cybertruck, I'm sorry if you disagree with me, you're a fucking douchebag. It basically
yeah,
says you're a douchebag. But the meme was this. It was a joke. It was from Seinfeld, George and Elaine, and George was saying, "Do you suppose if you have sex in a Cybertruck that would be cyber sex?" And Elaine says in the bottom, "That's fucking ridiculous. Nobody driving a Cybertruck is having any kind of sex."
exactly. Not. And the thing about it is that I looked at those things and I kept thinking, man, why does it look familiar? What is this? It's a fucking DeLorean,
Kind
you
of, yeah.
people. It's a stainless steel vehicle. That's a DeLorean. If you don't know what a DeLorean is, go watch Back to the Future.
Yeah,
That was a
exactly.
DeLorean. Donald, I mean, Elon Musk has never had an idea, yeah, a self-made idea in his life. He stole everything or bought everything for someone else. The
Right.
Tesla board is tired of him. They're about to lose their company with this asshole. I mean,
Well, and
and no
sales
one's
went
buying
down and the
the
stock market
vehicles.
went down
Yeah,
last year. So he's
yeah.
having
No one's.
problems.
But how do you have problems when you have $400 billion? You don't have problems. You just have a.
That's,
He doesn't care. I mean, people saying well, he's losing money with X. Yeah, well, that's like losing $10. I mean, it doesn't
yeah,
mean
probably.
anything to them. And that's the
Yeah,
thing. These billionaires don't give a fuck about us because it doesn't mean anything to them. We're just fodder. We're
yeah,
just cattle fodder for them. I mean, they're talking about company towns. They're talking one. I saw an interview with some rich guy. Someone said, "Do you?" I don't know who it was, but I remember the interview saying that 86% of the people are in poverty, and he goes, "Good." She goes, "Why?" Because that'll make them hungry and they'll want more. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? That's just an
yeah.
unbelievable distribution of wealth, and it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. And I got into a rolling argument with someone about because they did a thing about billionaires about that same thing, and I said, read Animal Farm because Animal Farm is basically a parable of the Russian Revolution, and the animals revolt because the farmer's not taking care of them, not feeding them, all that. But then the revolution gets taken over by Stalinists, and this thing in the book, the pigs, and they become the rich people, still
Right.
oppressing the workers. And this guy, I said a point, read Animal Farm. He goes, so you mean that McCarthy propaganda book? I go, no, motherfucker, read the book. The book is about when you have a revolution, make sure there's certain people who are just not thinking about power as opposed to what you rised up for. You have to admit all the revolutions that we've seen over time, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, every time there's one, um, the people who do it always turn into dictators or hold power. The
Right.
only revolution in history I've seen that didn't turn that way was the American Revolution.
Right.
If you think about it, those guys did not want power or they were not inclined that way because they saw it and they were too smart. And that's why George Washington was always respected because he never treated the presidency as a regal thing. He treated the presidency as service to the people and office you held for others. And
Right.
that tradition went forever until recently, where it got twisted by
It
this
became more. It became
narcissistic
more of a
prick.
monarchy now again. It's
Yeah.
almost a monarchy. I wanted to bring up something about Joe Biden. Joe
Mhm.
Biden's 2 weeks away from being out of office. It's maybe a relief to him because that's a lot of pressure for a guy his age. But he's been doing a lot of things. They've been appointing judges and trying to
Mhm.
dummy proof the system for when Donald Trump takes over. But I'm so glad to see that Joe Biden has had a plenty of time to get petty and get in Donald Trump's head. He first did it when he gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Liz Cheney. Oh, that drove Donald Trump
Oh
fucking
God, they
nuts.
went insane.
And then as if it weren't enough, He also gave Presidential Medal of Freedoms to Hillary Clinton and George Soros.
And they are
Wow.
going insane. And I'm like going, first of all, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. Joe Biden doesn't care. And be honest, George Soros aside, that was basically to everybody. But Hillary
Definitely.
Clinton, to be honest, she kind of deserves it. She
Oh,
was the
she
Secretary
does.
of the State. She did do a lot. She did serve her country well. She deserves it. Okay.
She didn't
And also,
whine after she lost.
yeah, and it's this too, but to the MAGA. But you see, to watch them just go insane, I'm going, motherfuckers, you gave the Medal of Freedom to fucking Rush Limbaugh.
There you go.
Rush fucking Limbaugh. Oh yeah, Jim Jordan's got one too. Worthless piece of shit has never passed any piece of legislation in his life,
Right.
and he got one. I mean, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So shut the fuck up. I mean, when he gave it to Rush Limbaugh, all I did was turn it off and brush my teeth because there was some vomit in my mouth and I had to get it out. But I wasn't going crazy. It was what it was. He could do it because he's the president.
Well, and the thing
I
about it
mean,
is when he did that with Rush Limbaugh, to me, it
mhm,
just kind of cheapened the whole medal, made it less
yes.
valuable. If Rush
Mhm.
Limbaugh can get it, fuck, you and I should get it.
And we're better human beings than Rush Limbaugh ever will. And he died horribly of cancer, and there's no karma there. I would not. I'll say what I'll say. You don't like it, fuck you. I mean, karma catches up with you eventually in what
It
you do.
does.
Um, but it's like I saw the people he gave to Magic Johnson, service to community, Denzel Washington. Why not? I mean, good
Denzel's
man.
just
It was
cool. Give it to him for being
yeah,
cool.
give it to him. I mean, why not? I mean, it's not a big deal. Give them all out like candy. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Sure, let's have a party at the end of this bitch because you know what? This place is going to look like a fucking frat house when Trump gets in. It really is. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're
this is. I mean,
absolutely
this
right.
is just everyone's going to have some fun, a little respect. Fuck it. What do we got to lose now? Honestly, it's done. I mean, whatever his first lady, I don't know if it's coming in, is going to rip up everything and turn it into a concrete bunker, probably like she did to
I
the
don't think
Kennedy
she's coming to
Garden.
DC. I don't think she's coming to DC. I think she's going to
Yeah,
stay in New
I
York
mean,
or
that's the thing.
Mar-a-Lago
It's like,
or
what? I mean, that just tells you what this man is. I mean, let's sidetrack because again, this is on Monday, but today, and we're the recording, um, Jimmy Carter's body drove across
right.
Georgia. They took him from Plains. He was at his library in Atlanta, and then he drove across Georgia. People stopped on the opposite side of 75. 75, the main fucking artery through Georgia, on the south side, stopped when the caravan came through. Stopped out of respect, and he passed through, and he's on his way to Washington. Donald Trump is fucking insane right now because the flags are going to have staff, staff, not masked. They're not on a boat. Staff, has staff, during this inauguration, and he's saying no one wants to see it. They're a beautiful flag, dude. It's just a reminder that you respect the office. Even when your fat ass dies, there will be 30 days of the flags being at half staff because we respect the office. May not respect the man, but we respect the office. And you held it. You have that right. You even have a right to a fucking state funeral, although that's going to be disgusting. But the thing
Yeah.
about it is, I'm so glad one thing Joe Biden did is that he took January 9th is the state funeral. He was not leaving that in Donald Trump's hands. Oh, hell no. That would have been a disaster. And that just tells you that everything comes back to this is not about America. Americans have forgot that you serve your country doesn't serve you. You serve your country by being a good person, working, pay your taxes, don't try to fuck everyone over, stand up for people's rights. That's how you serve your country. Wear a fucking mask when you have to. That's what America used to be about. We used to question things that were wrong. We used to try to fix things that were wrong. Now all of a sudden, it's about what do I get and fuck the other person to get it. When did
It
that fucking
is.
come back?
Well, we've
It's
become
hard to
not
watch.
we've not only become a dumber nation, but we've become a more selfish nation. And that's not what this country was built on. It was and the Bible, for that matter, was about helping other people. But now all we hear is, what do I get? When do I get it? Why do they get more than me? That's terrible. Let's take it away from them so I can have more. And it's not just the billionaires. It's not just the politicians. It seems a significant percentage of society feels this way. And getting rid of Donald Trump and MAGA is one thing, but we've got a country full of people that are just wrong thinkers.
It's, I mean, there's a lot of things. When you can go back to, I mean, honestly, since we're talking about Carter, his replacement, Ronald Reagan, once you start taking away manufacturing in the middle class, you left a lot of generation adrift. And so they've been scrapping and clawing for anything.
Yeah.
And so you get that attitude, and you get someone like Donald Trump who promises them everything. Honestly, it was a con. I mean, the second time was a con. That no one remembers the first Trump administration. They don't remember the first Trump administration.
Well, they didn't do
They
anything.
think it was. They don't remember COVID. They don't remember anything. They don't remember the chaos. It says Biden came in, fixed it, everything was calm, and then they got to bitch and complain about it.
Right.
And you just don't accept, you don't see. And yeah, misogyny and racism did end the campaign, and the Democrats panicked as they usually do and pulled the plug too early on Joe Biden, not waiting to roll it out. But just that he conned him. He just told him, "I'll do it. Don't worry how you gonna do it. That's fine. I'll do it." Meanwhile, Kamala Harris has to explain everything to the fucking nth degree, but people go, "I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. There's too many pages to read." Yeah, Trump says he's going to fix everything. Okay, I'll go with that. And now you're surprised it's not going to fix everything. And
Well,
then he
and
calls, all you stupid because he needs the engineers from India,
yeah,
not Americans. Yeah,
yeah,
okay, that worked for y'all.
and that's the question: is he going to get pushback? We know Elon Musk is getting pushback, but will they go after Donald Trump for siding with Elon Musk? Because while they disagree with him, he's also their cult leader, and cultists typically go along with whatever their leader says, even if they don't like it. They just fold up and do what he says. And then that's what I'm afraid the base is going to do. That it's not going to matter what he does wrong. There's nothing he can do to get them to turn on him. So he's always going to have the base. There has to be a point where the more reasonable people in the Republican Party just can't stomach this anymore. And we are farther and deeper in this than I ever thought would be imagined. I could imagine. I thought these people would be done with this fuck a long time ago.
No, because he benefits their hate. He benefits. I mean, again, the people who support him the most are the poorest people
Yeah.
who expect. See, the thing about it is, like, I think we talked about in one of the lives, is that town in Pennsylvania where they're hoping that he doesn't take their benefits. All right, and he's hoping they won't. But it's not that they're hoping he won't take the benefits. He's hoping he won't take the white folk benefits.
Right.
No, take the
But he
blacks and
will.
the browns. I mean, they're lazy anyway. We know they don't deserve it, but we deserve it because our skin color says that we matter, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. And that's what we're dealing with because they really believe that they're going to come out ahead, and those people they hate will not, and we get to watch them suffer. I won't get anything out of it other than watching other people suffer. And the thing about it is that if you cannot farm, if you cannot collect fruit, if you cannot run your crops, that is called food shortages. What do we do now? I mean, that's the thing. It's like all self-professing for what? Again, I still think of a November 5th as watching the absolute dumbing down of America, the
Yeah,
dumbest thing ever. And no, you did not get a mandate. You just got a majority of a minority that voted. And for
right.
you people who did not vote, go fuck yourself because you did not help the situation. You made it worse. And I want to hear from you, especially you Jill Stein voters. Go bite.
One of the things I wanted to say about the farmers, when you talk to the farmers now about, what happened in the first term where you put the tariffs on China and soybeans were rotting in the fields and they were going broke and some of them committed suicide and all that stuff. They do tend to forget about how difficult that was, but they are thankful to Donald Trump for bailing them out to the tune of $58 billion. So they were whole. But here's the thing, he made them whole because he needed their votes in 2020. He doesn't need their votes now. There's going to be no bailout because there's nothing in
Mm-hmm.
it for Donald Trump to bail them out. So if they're counting on that, we'll tough through the tariffs, but Donnie will bail us out. No, I don't think he will.
No, I mean, and I mean that's some 1984 shit. I mean, you
Yeah.
create the problem, solve the problem, and say, "Look, I fixed your problem," but you created a problem in itself. I mean, I don't understand farmers because he's not going to help you. I mean, come on, guys. You know, you've been there before, but because again, don't like the black woman. I'm not going to vote
Yeah.
for the black woman, but I'll vote to the guy who already fucked me once. That
Yeah.
is the dumbest thing to think about it. You are about to get screwed again, and you volunteered for it. I mean, now you're saying, well, if you get rid of my labor, I can't, I can't do anything. Well, you should have thought about that before you made your votes or supported
Right.
him. Same thing for the steel workers of Pennsylvania. Yeah, the Nippon deal is looking good now. Oh, can't have it, huh? They worked years for that cooperation between U.S. Steel and Nippon. It was going to make both companies money. But no, 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 no. You
But
had to
didn't
vote
Joe
for Trump.
Biden didn't Joe Biden just shut that down though? I know
No.
there was some question.
Well, Nippon pulled away because as soon as the Trump election came through and the
Yeah.
tariffs are coming, and also he had spoken against it, they just don't want to deal with it. One thing about
Okay.
the Japanese, they don't want to deal with stuff they can't, that's going to be out of their control. And Trump has caused a lot of that. So those layoffs came. I mean, it's just, I mean, you guys let your feelings get above your pocketbooks. I mean, make your money, hate who you want, but at least understand that you got to support your families. Dear
I get
God, what idiots.
I I get the impression that farmers and all the people that follow Trump the fucks and have suffered when he was in office the first time, but still vote for him now. It's not unlike uh, a spouse in domestic violence. The ones they get beat up, and then they say you got to press charges, and they don't because they're afraid of what will happen if they do and
Yeah,
break up their family and all this stuff. And all they do is end up perpetuating this abuse on themselves. It seems like these people that follow Trump, especially in business and unions and farmers, it seems like they're thinking, oh, he'll get better, he'll change, but he won't. There won't be any change in Donald Trump. If anything, it gets worse.
it has gotten worse. I mean, the worst videos I've seen recently is some of the Trump folks saying, you know how great it would be if we had Canada and Mexico as part of the United States? And I'm going, all they have to do, like one guy, I can't believe one guy says, yeah, once we get Panama and Mexico in, the Canadians will want to join. Hey guys, the Canadians want nothing to fucking do with us. I mean,
Oh,
do you think that these are third world countries? Have you seen the city of Montreal and Toronto, Vancouver,
yeah.
Winnipeg, Mexico City? I mean, what is wrong with you people?
What
I
drives me
mean,
nuts is that there are people that are talking about this seriously, and it's not serious. It's
Yes,
not going to happen. There's no way it's going to happen. They even got this clown from Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful, who's going to go out and help negotiate. Sure, another billionaire that's failed a million times. Let's
negotiate
send him
what?
up there too. Making Canada the 51st state. There are people talking about it as if it's a legitimate idea. It's not even close to a legitimate idea. It's not going to
They have
happen.
no, they have no I mean, the first interview that Trump had when he talked about what is that? We support, or what's the word? Subsidize Canada and Mexico? Subsidize Canada and Mexico? You trade with Canada and Mexico. They're
Right.
sovereign states. I mean, they're sovereign countries. It's trade. But I don't understand this insanity that's gone into his head. I mean, someone actually whispered the words manifest destiny, or showed him the map from the old 18th century, showing what their idea of manifest destiny was. Yeah, that's great in the 18th century. Ain't gonna happen. This
No.
is the 21st century, and and the thing about it is, they are serious about a soft invasion of Mexico. They want to create a buffer zone between them and drug. No, dude, it's not going to happen, and there's going to be a lot of dead American soldiers. You
No.
don't fuck with these people. You don't. And the thing about it is, the Mexican president is smart. She's
Yeah,
not
she's very
dumb.
smart.
And I know she's already made contact with cartels and said, hey, look, I know we have our differences, and I think you guys are scum, but you are Mexican citizens first. And they're ready to go to war. You don't want this. And you're
Yeah.
not going to stop drugs. How many times do I have to say this? They're still going to find a way to come to the United States. People want them. It's been going on for centuries.
Yeah.
Opium with the Chinese immigrants. I mean, heroin. I mean, again, listen to a damn radio show, or a show from the 50s and 60s. They're talking about drugs then. Drugs always come in. And this is just insane. And again, this is part of it is a cover, because they know they can't do shit. So they get them look over here. But it may cost a lot of Americans their lives. And I want to see when American children and young men come home in boxes. How is that going to work for you with the MAGAs? They're going to say, "I'm proud my son died in the desert in Mexico." For what?
Thing
I
about it
mean,
is, and I firmly believe this, he says a lot of stuff. He said a lot of stuff the first time. He did nothing with regards to Greenland and Canada and Mexico and all this shit. It's just yet another distraction. He said he was going to bring down prices, bring down inflation. Once he got elected, he said, well, I don't know. That's kind of hard. So he needed a distraction, something loud
right?
and obnoxious. And that's what Donald Trump does. I think Donald Trump believes ever since he has been in business, or maybe even college, I'm the biggest, strongest, richest, most powerful guy. So all I have to do is go up and scare them, and they'll bend for me. And he thinks that's going to work on an international theater, an international stage, and it's not, because there'll be other countries that say, "Stop fucking around."
Yes. And Honduras, you heard what the Honduras president said. You keep this shit up. Because there's an American base in Honduras. Get the fuck out. We don't need you here. Get out. I mean, these are consequences. The problem with Donald Trump, and why I always wondered, even during his first presidency, why does he always have rallies? Why? And then it hit me. He's always campaigning. He's
Yeah,
always
that's all he
wants
knows how to
a
do.
crowd. That's all he knows how to do. He doesn't know how to govern. He doesn't know how to shut up. He keeps campaigning. These are all campaign things for the base to make them happy to move forward. But we're beyond that right now. You have to govern. You have to figure out shit. And the thing about it is that you keep telling you're going to fix the economy. Fix what? The last jobless numbers came out. They're low. There's still um, jobs to be had. And the point is, what are you going to do with it? You can't. I mean, his ideas on the economy are going to crack the economy.
Right.
And these people think that everything's going to get better once he becomes. First of all, when he got elected, everything will change better. Well, you got to wait. Now they're saying come January 20th, the magic dust will come across America will become. I don't know. I don't know.
They're
And
going to be
that's
sorely disappointed.
and we don't know. Again, we keep talking about this. Everyone's talking about what do we do? I don't know. We're in for a ride, y'all. Well, this is on Monday the 6th, and you're watching it. The deed is done, and that's going to be done. Now
Yeah.
we're just waiting for the party. This is a man who will never be happy. He'll never be happy. He wants more. He needs more love. He needs more this. He needs more that. It's literally a spoiled child. You guys elected a fucking spoiled child.
Well, I
And
don't think he likes the fact that half this country hates him, and he thinks if he gets another chance, that he can prove himself and get everybody to love him, just like he thinks he can walk into any situation and talk his way out of it. But you notice some parallels between him and Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin wants to get the Soviet Union back, and he's going into Ukraine, trying to take over Ukraine, and then he'd want to take it further. It's the same thing Donald Trump's doing. I'm going to take Canada. Vladimir's going to take Ukraine. I'm going to take Canada, or I'm going to take Mexico. It's not the kind of behavior that we do in this country. We've never done
no,
in this country. And he's taken notes from Vladimir Putin, and he thinks, well, if I can get Canada, I can tell everybody I made it the biggest country in the world because we got Canada and Mexico. It's just all bullshit coming out of Donald Trump's mouth, and I don't understand why. I know why the Trumplafucks believe him. I don't understand why the media or some other regular people believe him, because he never accomplishes anything he says he's going to accomplish.
I'm shocked by the fear that he has put in the media and corporations. I am
Yeah,
shocked by it. I
I am
mean, the
shocked by it.
media, the media, the majority have done by, well, are run by Trump supporters. But
Right.
I mean, his FCC chairman has already, nominee has already sent out letters saying that, hey, you know, you fuck with Trump, we may pull your licenses. How's that constitutional? I mean, this
Well,
is this is
I would just say this as somebody who worked in broadcast media, as somebody who held, or I guess I still hold, uh, FCC license. All right.
mhm.
It's, who cares about broadcast media anymore? It's fucking sinking like a ship full of shit in the ocean. Broadcast media, what's going on here, what's going on YouTube and the internet. That's where most people are getting their media from these days. As the old people die off, the young people aren't even going to watch network stuff. And that's the only thing FCC has control over is broadcast stuff. So who gives a fuck if he's doing it?
That's true. The streaming services, yeah, on YouTube and all, even TikTok. So whatever happens with that, we'll see. I mean, it is what it is. It's a different world. I know it. I get it. You're not
It
getting your
is.
news from a newspaper. You're not getting your uh, news from radio or broadcast TV anymore. And even
No.
that is just. I mean, like the local stations are run by the majority are run by Sinclair, which is a conservative group anyway.
You're getting your
My
news from
son,
broadcast media, you're doing yourself a disservice.
exactly. My son, locally in Georgia, got a job offer to work at a Sinclair station in Macon. And as an editor, he said, "Fuck no, hell no." I mean, literally, it was a good no. He won't do it because he knows what he has to do, and he won't
Yeah.
do it.
Well,
I
I
raised the boy
respect him for
right.
that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
the
tough
point is,
not to get a job, but I
yeah,
respect
and
him
the
for that.
point is, like that's been coming, and I think a lot of what we're dealing with again is a message that's been going for 40 years that people have been entombed with. Is our message getting through a little? I guess it won't get through MAGA because they're dead inside and dead in their minds. I don't know about people are going to realize in the end that these people have don't care about you. Those who support Elon Musk, especially on TikTok or make videos about him, you guys are out of your fucking minds.
Yeah.
I remember that one guy we got in the first chapter live we did talking about electric cars. Now you support electric cars have nothing but left to right. They're technology. You
Right.
dumbass. Elon Musk, he can make. You know what? If Tesla made a great product, great. Tesla does not make a great product. Hasn't since he got it, and they don't make an
Right.
inexpensive product. It's designed for the upper class. Hybrids, Ford, everyone that make electric cars, they're trying to um, squeeze it into a market that people can buy the cars. Because the thing about it is, people say, well, electric cars are going to replace gas and oil. No. Where does electricity still, the majority of electricity comes from? Generated by gas.
Right.
Generated by gas. Okay. That's a fact. Electric cars just basically stretch oil further. You dumbasses. And also they do help the environment because of less emissions in the air. But you
Well,
guys don't
Republic.
get it because you guys are stuck in some whacked out world. And oh yeah, thank you, Joe Biden, for telling me you're not going to draw off. Sure, there's another fuck you. I love
Yeah.
that. That was fun.
Well, the thing about it is that Republicans will try to tell you that the Democrats are trying to switch everything to electric in the next 5 years. That's not going to happen. I'll be honest with you, Will. If there's ever a time when we all have electric cars and there is no more gas cars, you and I will be long dead before that happens.
Yeah, and their technology is there to do things. You could do hydrogen. The point is, we're stuck in this retro bullshit that I don't understand why. Why do you think that's why is everyone so anti-science, anti-forward, anti-progress? I mean,
I don't know.
Health and Human Services Secretary is going to be a fucking conspiracy fool. That man's insane.
Yeah.
He's really crazy. I can't wait for the Senate hearings because there are going to be Senate hearings.
They're going to be entertaining
Majority
because
Leader
they're going to
Thune
get
said
blown
that.
up.
Yeah, and I just cannot wait for those hearings because what's your goal here? To make America sick again? Worse sick? I mean, I don't know why you guys bought into this con. The world ago was not better.
No,
No, no,
no.
I will tell you, technology wise, the world ago was not better. Some of the ethics of the world ago were a little better than they are now, to be honest, where you actually respected people and didn't, go after people. But I see that's out of the way now. They traded that in. Um,
Yeah, I think people just aren't very well informed and they only hear what they want to hear and they adjust it to their own agenda and all the bad stuff they just act like it doesn't exist. Um, there's going to be a lot of people surprised when it does start to kick them in the ass because it will, and then they'll be crying and whining, and we're stuck in this whole mess. I'm just, when you look at Congress and you look at some of the things that have happened besides the Speaker of the House, I, I've said before, I don't think Donald Trump is anything but a liability once he becomes president. And I don't think the Republicans are going to have a problem pushing back against him because they're going to be trying to save their own lives. That's all they want. They need to get reelected. They don't need the economy to go to shit. And all this stuff that Donald Trump is talking about is going to be a lot of fucking noise. Like everything Donald Trump talks about, everything's
yeah,
fucking noise.
and like every time those two idiots talk about whatever that program or so-called made-up system where he's talking about removing Medicare and veterans benefits.
That's
What
not
the
going to
hell they call
happen.
that? You guys, they have no power. They have no power. Everything goes to the House. Money goes to the House. And you're going to get rid of Social Security. Good luck. I don't see how
That,
you're
that
going to
ain't
do
going to
that.
happen. No.
It won't get out of the Senate. Even those 53 senators, there's going to be breaks within the senators, and also you can hold up bills.
And
You
it
think
isn't going to get
Democrats are
through
going
the
to do that?
House. It isn't going to
No.
get through the House. I mean, look at the House. The House, they had the majority and they got nothing done in 2 years. And guess what? This time around, they have less power. They're almost losing power if one or two things go wrong. So the idea that anything is going to pass through the House easily, it's not.
I
It's
mean, it's
just not.
219 to 215. I mean,
Yeah.
that's nothing. I mean, I don't want to hear about a fucking mandate. A mandate would have been a 70 seat majority in the House
Well, think
and
about
a
this.
60.
I think it's 220 to 215. We got one guy, Massey, that just doesn't want to vote for anything that's Trump, who's a Republican. The two that went back and voted for McCarthy uh, is what got him to pass it. But he only got 218, the bare minimum of
Right.
what he needed.
Hmm.
Now, with 220, um, with with uh, with the new Congress, you've got Matt Gaetz gone until they have a special election. He's gone. They got two people that Donald Trump wants to put in his cabinet. They're gone. And then all of a sudden it's 217 to 215. They don't even have the majority per se because they only have 217. It's going to get very dicey for the Republicans
Yeah.
as we continue on up until we get and even after they have the special elections, if Republicans win, it's still thin.
Yeah. And that's, I'm hoping that the government system will still work as it should be. I think what it is that we have to get right now. This is basically the bread and circuses part of the election. There's going to be a whacked out celebration by the far right. They're going to sit there and basically dance naked around a fire, around their God. Trump is just going to call himself the greatest human being on the face of the planet. And everyone's just going to sit there. I mean, unless you're a Trumpophile, we're just going to A, not watch, and B, just try to keep our stomachs down.
Yeah,
And then the real stuff starts. That's the thing. This is not a campaign anymore. This is governing, and they don't get it.
they
They
don't
don't want to
govern.
govern. They don't want to govern.
No,
Governing is hard. Governing is about compromise. Government is about looking at everything the best for the country. Problem is, the majority of these guys don't give a fuck about the country. They only care about themselves, and that's where the discord's going to be for the next 2 years. Let's say 2 years.
I,
Um,
I want I wanted to bring
but
up this other thing that happened regarding the Manhattan District Judge Juan Marchand. He said, "We are going to sentence him
yeah,
on January 10th." Now, it doesn't sound like they're going to do much to him, given that he's going to be the president. But I will tell you this about sentencing Donald Trump. That finalizes the whole thing. There's no
yes,
gray area anymore. He has been convicted. He has been sentenced, regardless of what they do to him. And this is the one thing that's fucking with Donald Trump's head. He's always been able to wiggle out of something or squirm out of something. And this one he can't. And it affects the most important thing to him. It affects the perception of people. The shred of doubt he could say, well, I wasn't convicted. Well, yeah, you were convicted and you were
hmm,
sentenced. It's a done deal. And when you become president, there's nothing you can do about it. You will die as a convicted felon. And that fucks with his head a little bit because he can't explain it away and he can't deny it. He just won't talk about it. He may scream and yell about everything, but the one thing, last thing I'll say about that is he still has a gag order from Judge Juan Marchand. The moment he's sentenced, he will have the gag order taken off. So it'll be interesting to see what he has to say about Judge Juan Marchand and his family.
yeah. My biggest concern about Judge Marchand and the new DOJ and FBI. Don't be surprised. All of a sudden, there's a corruption investigation on him, or something else comes up,
Yeah, it's
or
possible.
his daughter ends up being accused of something. I mean, that's something that the Trump DOJ and the Trump FBI would do. See, the thing about the this new DOJ is that they don't give a fuck about crime. They're going to give a fuck about protecting Trump. As simple as that. That's all
Mhm.
it's about, protecting him and doing his bidding. There is going to be no pushback in the DOJ or the FBI because it's going to be handpicked. And that's a scary thing because the domestic terrorism, and one person made a comment that during the first Trump administration, domestic terrorism was up. Why? Because the Trump DOJ didn't consider them as terrorists. They consider
Right.
them a misunderstood political people.
Right.
And the beginning of this domestic terrorism that started on January 1st, we may see it more and more and more because they don't consider there's no such thing as a domestic terrorist, under the
Right.
Trump DOJ.
Well, don't you think, I was talking about this with the New Orleans situation and the Las
Mhm.
Vegas situation. And what I'm basically saying, and we're seeing the start of it now, under Donald Trump, this country is more volatile, more
Oh yes.
adversarial, more violent. That's what we were when he was president last time. That's what it's going to be now. We aren't going to see the big attacks of masses of people, but we've always talked about crazy loners doing something. And we had two of them in one fucking day, both Trump
Yeah.
supporters. And this is what we're going to see more of over the next term of time that Donald Trump is president. And I hope people are ready for it. It's not going to be like January 6th, but there's going to be crazy motherfuckers out there doing things. And this is why I've said too about Donald Trump. Donald Trump better have a lot of protection because when he goes in and things start going south, he could get sick, he could have a heart attack, he could die. But we're talking about Republicans now. Two assassination attempts, both Republicans. If he becomes a liability and a problem,
Hmm.
I can't say what Republicans will fucking do. They've done crazier shit.
It's, I mean, speculation. I mean, the guy, 78 years old,
Yeah.
and I'm healthier than he is. Um, and I don't know. I mean, it must be good genes, or God has a sense of humor that this man's still rolling around.
I think it's that he's
Um,
part cockroach. I think that's what it is.
oh, great. There's not enough rate in the world for that one. But
Yeah.
someone made a good comment. I mean, they talked about Joe Biden's age forever, but you got a 78-year-old who, I mean, this president of the United States, um, the speaker is not young, and the president pro tem of the Senate is 97 fucking years old. How the fuck
Yeah.
is Chuck Grassley in the Senate near 100 fucking years old? I mean,
I
Eric
don't
can't
know.
even answer that question. He's from Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
not
silly.
that man is 97 fucking years old. If he lives through his fucking term, he will be 103. I mean, come on. And he's in the Senate. He's the pro tem. What is,
Yeah.
I mean, in the ageism, I understand ageism, but this isn't ageism. This is like, hey, you just don't belong anymore. You guys just
Right.
can't hack it. Wasn't there a older Republican congressman fell down the steps the other day? I think
Yeah.
that they
Yeah. It was. Somebody fell down the steps. I'm not sure who it was. I thought
and
it was a
didn't
woman.
didn't a Texas congressman female vanish? They found her in a home
Yeah.
with dementia.
A memory care home. Yeah.
Yeah, with dementia, and no one mentioned it. Hi, I mean, and you people keep voting for these people.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's it
the
it's
governor of
silly.
Alabama is old. Also, the governor of Alabama, if anyone's seen Shawshank Redemption, the governor of Alabama is doing what that warden did in Shawshank Redemption. She's
What's
making
that?
money off prisoners. Have you seen that? No. In
Yeah, I
Alabama,
have.
okay, that was the whole plot of Shawshank Redemption, that the warden was getting paid by businesses under the table to use prisoners for free labor,
Right.
and he was supposed to do it. In Alabama, they're doing the same thing. I never heard a word about it from the DOJ. Nothing. I mean, it's just insane, the insanity. And I don't know what the breaking point's going to be where people say enough of this shit. I
You
mean,
know, speaking of that, I saw a couple of articles, and these
mhm.
articles suggested that Joe Biden's fatal flaw in his presidency was appointing Merrick Garland as the Attorney General and
Yep,
the catastrophe that is the DOJ. They're just writing articles about that. Fuck, Will, you and I have been talking about this for a year.
a year.
It yeah, at least a year. And now they're kind of saying, yeah, maybe he made the wrong choice. And I say about Joe Biden, I said, look, I like Joe Biden. He's been incredibly productive, but he does have the one fatal flaw. And I don't say the fatal flaw is appointing Merrick Garland because who fucking knew? The flaw is that
Right.
after a year and he did nothing, he should have fired his ass.
Yeah, he didn't want to get into that fight. And when he still had the Congress, he could have replaced him. Also, let's be honest, Christopher Wray, he could have asked for his resignation. Trump did. I
Yeah,
mean, everyone saw he couldn't do it because no, he could ask for his resignation. The thing about it is that we had a non-aggressive DOJ in a situation that demanded an aggressive DOJ. So now here we are. I it, there is, and you and I remember to an extent the civil rights movement, and no one
right,
really gave a rat's ass. Honestly, they thought it was made up. Hell,
right.
if you go back to World War II, they thought the Holocaust was a Jewish conspiracy until they saw the camps,
Yeah,
until they really got the word of what happened. And everyone said, oh, and the same thing with civil rights until the violence got so bad, even those who were going, no, going, oh, we got to do something about it.
yeah,
The scary part about this is that we may have to relive this, that everything's going to get so bad that people will finally say, no, we have to stop this. Something has to be done about it. Um, you can't accept it. I mean, that's the thing. How far is these MAGAs going to go with their ethics and their beliefs if it
right.
really turns ugly and bad? If there's real food shortages, if people are really being pulled out and dying in the streets, if literally he sends troops into Mexico and it's not what they think it's going to be, how far will you guys go before you break support? How far before you demand something be done about this craziness? I don't know because these guys are in this funk of winning, thinking that they did something, and they just accept it all. We see the crazy starting. They just see nothing because they're still high off the November 5th.
If you're old enough to remember the 1960s, you remember how volatile it was. You know, you
Yes.
people complain about the Black Lives Matter riots. These fucking riots back in the 60s were happening all the time. Civil rights
What's right?
riots, race riots, all riots on fucking campuses. This was happening weekly. And what I'm going to tell folks is if people start getting shortage of gas or food and start becoming uh, hit by these things, it's like what they are talking about with the CEOs. The pitchforks are going to come out. People are
Right.
going to get angry and they're going to take to the streets. And it's not going to be, it's going to be worse than the 60s because that was just civil rights and maybe some women's rights and stuff like that. This is going to be everybody that's pissed off, everybody that's suffering. And it's going to get very ugly if they allow it to happen.
I mean, and the question I have is like in the red states with super majorities of Republicans. I want to ask a question to those of you who live in Oklahoma. If you see this, answer me this question. How the fuck do you justify sending your child to a public school when the only way to get out of high school is either you got to get a job, go to college, or join the military?
Right.
What the fuck is that? I don't get it. When did your schools become what? You don't have no choices? That's insane. And they're going to do that in Oklahoma. Tell me how that benefits you or benefits children without, they will become resentful. You want to see a dropout rate? You will see a dropout rate. And honestly, if I had kids and I lived in Oklahoma, I'm getting the fuck out.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
because your kids aren't going to learn anything. They're going to be too afraid if they don't get grades or they can't go to college or they can't get a job or You got it, and then the only way you can get a high school diploma is to join the military. What the fuck? I mean, when did you turn your kids into cannon fodder? And then in Arkansas, I'm sorry, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, your state sucks. Don't advertise it as California. Trust me, you're not a tourist destination or a business destination. No one, everyone knows that your population is undereducated and you got so much corruption, it's pathetic. But you love making sure that your 13-year-olds can go work in a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the law. See, these type of states, Alabama, that the one thing I do, I mean, Georgia's bad, but at least there's some kind of um, Georgians always feel above most of the people in the South because they still are the center of business in the South.
Right.
You could talk. I mean, they could talk about the Hicks in the South and everything, but you get around Atlanta and Buckhead and all that. Those people are fucking sophisticated. They
Yeah.
like their money and they like to be fucked with. So you can have your somewhat abortion bans and all that, but don't go to Alabama. This is Atlanta, not fucking Birmingham. So that's one benefit of Georgia is that with Atlanta there's some sophistication. But you get into these South Carolinas and even Florida, what the hell? Your economy's gonna crash soon.
Yeah.
You can't even sell insurance in Florida. It's insane. I mean,
Well,
and
you work in insurance. Uh,
like
do you deal with people in Florida? And what's that about?
Florida, yeah, Florida auto was not bad. We as a company have kind of fixed that. Home insurance, good fucking luck because
Really?
of all the hurricanes and the risk. And DeSantis has kind of gutted the system, so it's tough. I mean, it's tough to get a homeowners insurance. Hell, it's tough to get homeowners insurance here in Georgia because the last two hurricanes. I'm
Yeah.
trying to move my home insurance, and they're looking at me like, "Yeah, right. Good luck," because we had three hurricanes roll over us in the last 5 years, right
Right.
through central Georgia. Yeah, don't tell me about climate change, assholes. That's never happened before.
Right.
And so, I mean, those are things that are going to affect everyone. But we look at everything on a national scale. But individual states, we got the red states doing their own thing. California is talking about basically Trump proofing the state. I mean,
Right.
it's like putting little locks on your doors when you have a kid. They try to
Right.
Trump proof the state.
Child-proof locks. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Illinois the same. I mean, Colorado Mayor Denver saying, oh, "Hell no, we're not letting ICE in," and they're already threatening them with Stephen Miller. So we're just going to arrest you and put you in jail if you protect these people. It's crazy, the insanity that basically what's going on right now with Trump not embracing all of America. See, that's the thing, guys. You keep saying, "Well, he's my president." Yeah, he's your president. He doesn't want to be my president. He does not want to be America's president. He wants to be your president. And Elon Musk, well, not president, but
Oh, he's
bitch.
kind of the
But
president, unofficial
yeah,
president. It always says.
yeah, but he wants to support those guys. And you are around for the laughs and the gesture. And oh, by the way, you buy my perfume and my watches. He doesn't want
Yeah.
to embrace the rest of the country. He doesn't want to embrace the other states because they didn't vote for him. They don't like him. They don't want. Who the fuck lives like that?
Well,
I
Donald Trump doesn't
mean,
want to govern at all. He doesn't want to do the work. He doesn't do the work. He wants to make money and be applauded. That's all he really wants. It's a really ridiculous thing that anybody thinks that he's going to get in there, roll up his sleeves, and do some work. He's never done any work. Everybody around him does the work. He takes credit for the wins and he blames for the losses. That's just what he does.
he never got up past noon, if I'm correct, when he
Oh,
was
11
president.
noon. Yeah.
And they literally, for his briefings, and that's the thing, those were people who had been in government for decades because he
Right.
had them with him. They were Republicans, but they were Republican civil servants. And they always complain about that because it's like he never did the work. And it's like,
He doesn't read.
I mean, yeah, and he didn't read. And they're trying to explain to him, "Hey, Mr. President, we got some issues. This is what we need to deal with." But he don't want to hear about it because he gets ADHD. He goes somewhere else, the butterflies, and
Well,
people
and
were
here
telling him stuff. And
and here's the thing: everybody on his staff is terrified of giving him bad news, so they don't. So he doesn't
yeah,
know about a lot of shit.
and it's going to be worse now because those people that worked for Trump before do not want any part of this White House. They've
No,
said it. They don't want it. A lot of them are probably going to get arrested by the FBI because he spoke out against them. But the people that he's going to surround himself are incompetent assholes. Like you said, yes men, whose only job is to keep Trump happy. If Trump's not happy, ain't nobody happy. But the
yeah,
problem with that, that's not how you run a fucking country. Countries don't
no.
work like that. Not competent ones. Not even fucking banana republics are run like that because the strongman is in power.
Right.
Um, the hardest thing for all of us, and we've been, you know, for the last what 2 months now since the election, trying to figure out how the fuck do we approach this? How
We
do
don't
we?
know. We just got to take it as it comes.
And that's the thing. It's basically we are in territory the American Republic has never seen
No,
ever.
absolutely. It's totally
Even
new.
with Nixon, Nixon was a crook and devious, but Nixon, at least to an extent, cared about the country, tried to
At
run the
least he knew
country.
how to run the system a little bit. Donald
Yeah,
Trump doesn't
I
have a
mean,
clue. He's like the kid that goes in and doesn't know anything and doesn't want to learn. That's who Donald Trump is.
but how did they? How? And he conned the entire all these people to vote for him, and also, again, there were bad choices by the Democratic Party. But we're back to what the fuck do we do? And I think I've come to this conclusion is nothing at this time. Duck
No,
and cover to an extent. It's not surrendering. We just don't know what the strategy is because we don't know what it's going to. Again, it's party time. Bread and circuses. They're going to dance naked in D.C. Let them dance naked in D.C. He's going to make his money. I heard he's getting like about $200 million for the inauguration. Trust me, they're going to use 50 of it. The rest is in pocket. If you
right.
don't believe that, you're full of shit. If they all want to go to there, I don't care. Go there, dance, enjoy, whatever works for you guys. I don't care. We're not going to watch. Oh, we may watch because a train wreck is fun to
I
watch.
won't. I
Um,
won't watch it.
I mean, if it gets really weird and someone says, "Hey, look what they did," oh, oh my, just one of those moments. But overall, for all you, the magazines and everything, I'm going to disappoint you guys. I don't give a fuck.
I
You
don't
can bring
care.
all your bullshit to me. I'm going to tell you what I think and why you guys are idiots. But if you want to dance and celebrate Trump, hey, honestly, you earned it. Go dance and celebrate whatever you think he's going to do for you, because it ain't going to be shit. And you're going to find out about it. And yeah, you may spread the misery to brown folk everywhere, and you're going to enjoy watching people and children crying as they get ripped out of their mother's arms because you're a sick bunch of fucks like that. But in the end, they will be coming for you. You don't get it. When you run out of certain people in any kind of fascist dictatorship, they create enemies. You're next. Always remember that
Yeah,
because
you don't matter to anybody.
no matter
Like
anyone. I
Donald
mean,
Trump.
look, and again, when you don't get your checks, when you don't get your food stamps, when you wonder where your next meal's coming from, when you can't have a job because of certain things that happen, when Canada turns off the gas and you're freezing your asses off, good luck. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm looking forward to Texas because they're about to get a Arctic slam,
Are they really?
and I want to see how that grid's going to last, and who Greg Abbott's going to blame it on. That'll be fun. So if you're in Texas, I suggest you do a run for the South fast. I mean, it was good enough for Ted Cruz. It's good enough for you. Get the fuck out because it's going to be ugly
Yeah.
really quickly.
There's a lot of things that are going to be ugly, and all we can do is stand back and let him burn himself down and burn the red states down and try to stay alive and stay on top of things as best we can. And I'm a positive thinking guy. I think will do all right. And I think the Republicans will get tired of being made to look like fools. I mean, let's be honest, Donald Trump has a great opportunity to try to redeem himself. He doesn't have to fight against the Democrats anymore
Right.
because he's not going to get reelected. He could go in there and do all the right things, have some people tell him to do some things, go in there and say, no, we're going to expand Medicare. And then the Trumplafucks would have to get on board with it. He could do a lot
Right.
of things to redeem himself and get the adulation he wants, but he's too stupid to do that.
And that's the thing. I will say this straight up. If he actually became a president for all of us and did, it wouldn't be what the Democrats would do. But if he did something halfway through it, halfway decent for everyone, um, I mean, fine. I will give him his kudos. But you and I know that requires you to give of yourself.
Yeah,
And Donald Trump has never been like that. It's always about getting, not giving.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and if he does it, hey, I will be the first to say, cool, I still won't vote for you, but I'll give you your props. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your time because there's a bill coming and it's big and you're going to have to pay it. And don't look at me. No, I'm checked out. Simple as
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Well, Will, we're going to wrap things up for the Rational
Mhm.
Boomer podcast. Thank you for joining us today. It's always good to hear from you. We'll do a live, we'll bring you on there, and
Yes.
we'll keep talking. And all I'm going to say now is you got what you wanted. You can have your
Mhm.
little party, but on
Mhm.
January 21, guess what you got to do? You got to govern, and you don't have a good track record of doing that.
And,
You have
good
no
luck.
excuses. You
No,
got a
yeah.
mandate.
You can't blame Democrats this time. You'll try, but hey, good luck with that. But yeah, again, TikTok Binder38 US, same on YouTube, Blue Sky. If you ever want to hit me up, guys, just enjoy the party, enjoy watching what happens, and then once we figure out how to approach it, we'll do our best with it. So that's the best
That's
I
all
can
we
say
can
at this
do at
time.
this point. We just react to whatever happens and hope for the best. And I think we'll be all right in the long run, but it's not going to be pleasant in the
And
process.
and since this is Monday the 6th, hey, the certification is probably it probably went all right. It's a done deal. Don't worry, don't be disappointed. It's what the country was supposed to do. It's
Yeah.
how our Constitution works. Do not get depressed over it. Because actually, what Kamala Harris and Democrats will do is the right thing, unlike what the Republicans did in 21.
Now
So
that said, Will,
don't feel bad.
if somebody out there was right and something at the last minute's going to happen, you're going to have to come back on and eat crow with me.
Well, no, I won't. I mean, if
Uh,
it happens, great. Buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to be ugly on both
yeah,
sides. That's all I got to
absolutely.
say. And
Abs-
I mean, if anyone has the balls to it and tries it, be prepared because it's not going to be an easy fight if they want to go that way. But hey,
now,
to me, I don't see it because I don't think anyone has the really the gonads to pull that off in the Democratic Party.
if I'm wrong, I'll giggle my ass off like a little schoolgirl.
If
But
I'm wrong, I'm going to sit there and go, "Damn," and watch what happens.
I have a
Because
lot of
trust me,
respect for the Democrats.
yeah, and trust me, not the Dems are going to be crying. It's going to be the Republicans whining like little girls, and that'll be the fun part to watch.
It will be fun.
How could you do this to us? I don't know. 4 years ago, you did it to us, so payback's a bitch
Yeah,
if
payback's a
that
bitch.
happens.
Well, thanks very much, Will, for coming on. Those of you listening, I want to thank you for taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.